feels like they were just like, okay, we'll give the Mavs a game. It's fine. We would rather celebrate a championship in our city, in front of our fans, because the larger sample size of work has shown the Celtics are the much better team here. And do you think the line is right here, 6.5? Do you think this is a game in which the number matters? Because to me, it doesn't feel like it's something that matters. I feel like the Celtics either win this handily,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the Mavericks put up a fight here, but I think the Celtics certainly have the ability to make this not a close game.
Yes, I agree. And when I was talking about the Stanley Cup final earlier, where Edmonton blew out the Panthers in game 4, and I was like, that's an anomaly to me. I feel like the Panthers are going to win this series. And I feel the same way about this, where, yes, the Mavericks blew out the Celtics in game 4. That was an anomaly. The Celtics shot 36% from the field in that game. And then Joe Mazzulla didn't even have time to make adjustments. That game was over so quickly. It was just like, you know what, this game's over. Let's burn the tape. Let's move forward. But I'm really curious to see how Kyrie Irving performs. He had a very fascinating quote a couple days ago where he mentioned self-doubt. And it was very interesting sort of diatribe on his time in Boston and why it didn't work out and why he's sort of reviled there in Boston. But he mentioned that he's got to quiet down that crowd and quiet down some self-doubt. And so it's very interesting to me to hear a superstar this great at what he does, who is an NBA champion, to say, part of me wonders whether or not I can get this done in Boston based on my history. And it's not necessarily something you want to hear if you're a Mavericks backer. He didn't lean into it too much, so I don't want to over-exaggerate what he meant by that. But I thought it was telling.
Yeah, because his numbers have not been good at TD Garden. If you're looking, at this series, 14% from the three-point line, 19 points per game, which I know that looks good, but his efficiency has not been there. And I think more than anything, it's the turnovers and the mental mistakes that you see somebody like Kyrie Irving making. He is professional. He is a very good player, but when he plays the Celtics, there's something going on there. And he's even hinted at it. Like you said, he's talked about it. But I'm not sure if it even matters, because there was a game where Kyrie Irving played really well. What was it, that game? He scored 35. And guess what? The Mavericks still lost. So I feel like these are all storylines that we can talk about. But at the end of the day, will it even matter? I think not. I think it's still the Celtics.
I don't think so either. There is a chance Kristaps Porzingis plays tonight. He's feeling better. Chelsea, what's the name of that ailment that he has?
Ooh, I don't know. You found out how to pronounce it, Dr.
I'm just
Jenkins.
messing with you. Let me see if I can do this again. He has a torn medial retinaculum, allowing the dislocation of his posterior tibialis tendon in his left leg. Holy Lord. They said that's a rare injury. That is a rare injury. It affects his ability to lift his foot, the arch of his foot. But apparently he's feeling better, could play tonight. I don't think they're going to need him regardless. He's certainly not going to move the number. But if you're looking at Boston, and if you want to back the Mavericks, then Jason Kidd will possibly have to account for the fact that the Unicorn will play for the Celtics. My gut says he doesn't. It just doesn't look like they need him, but it's the NBA Finals.
So, Jenks, I was having this conversation with Bill. Why is basketball so petty? Doesn't it feel to you that of all the sports, the pettiness level in both the NBA and the WNBA is a level that other sports could only dream of? Why is that?
I really don't have an answer for you. I don't know if it's because players are constantly talking smack to each other. Like maybe they have that opportunity more than any other sport. It happens in every sport, right? Guys, gals, whatever, they're always chirping at each other. But in basketball, it's constant all the time, back and forth. And NBA Twitter is a real thing. WNBA Twitter is a real thing. Maybe it's just a part of the culture. I feel like that NFL Twitter is a thing, sure, to a certain extent. But there's nothing like NBA Twitter, right? Like there's just a whole different world there, and I don't know if it's just part of the sport. People get ingrained into it, but for some reason, it's a thing unlike any other sport out there. It's really interesting.
I think because maybe we let the stars in the NBA kind of get away with it because the personality of the league is the personality of the superstars. And who is more petty than the superstars in the NBA? Have you seen LeBron when he doesn't get a foul call? Have you seen Luka Doncic when he doesn't get a foul call? So maybe this is it because the superstars are so petty, the rest of the league and kind of the personality follows. Because think about like the personality of football. When you call somebody like a football guy, doesn't it have a completely different meaning? And football is such a quote unquote team sport where I feel like you can't be that petty and be a superstar. Like think about even the best players in the NFL. Sure, maybe you have your guys like Tyreek Hill that does run his mouth quite a bit, but you look at the quarterbacks, they're ultimate team guys. Look at Tom Brady, the GOAT, and how we talked about the team aspect of football being the most important goal for young players. I'm thinking about in baseball, you can't even look at somebody wrong in baseball. Like, no, this is a man sport. You respect the game. But in basketball, it's so different. The superstars, I feel like, lead the charge by being petty themselves.
No, you're exactly right. And it's just overt pettiness. That's the thing about it. It's not even subtle. It's not even these sort of low-level digs. I mean, it's just out in your face. Especially with basketball players always sliding into people's DMs. I love it when they slide into like a fan's DM and like start talking smack. Like, dude, what are you doing? You got to be better than this. You have to be better than
Kevin
this.
Durant.
Yes, and I love KD, but man, he's the worst at that. Or he'll see something he doesn't like, it'll call somebody out. It's like, man, you've got to rise above. You're an NBA superstar. You're going to be a Hall of Famer. Why are you randomly sliding into some random fan's DMs to talk smack? I don't know. And maybe, I think it's the close quarters too. Like even in an NBA arena, if you're a fan at a football game, it's hard to get close to a player for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, even in hockey, even in baseball, but not in basketball. If you're close to the court, you can have a player a few feet from you can talk to that player if you so choose. And that player can clap back at you. It's just a different environment. I think that has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, the fact that you can see their faces. Like in football, I think the fact that a helmet covers most of their face, you don't see the visceral reactions as much as you do in basketball. Like some of the superstars, I think they contend with actors for the most dramatic reactions. Like we know LeBron is tops on the list. I remember Dwight Howard used to be really bad at like his face when he gets a foul called on him. Like the guy's just so dramatic. So maybe it's the fact that we can see their faces.